Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Voyager, Season 1, Episode 14, Jetrel. So overall, this was an okay episode. It didn't super jump out at me or anything like that. It's mostly kind of a character episode for Neelix, who hasn't really had a lot to deal with so far in the series. Most notably, I would say, is James Slolan makes an appearance as Dr. Jetrel, the title character. In The Next Generation, he played a couple characters. He played a Romulan and a Klingon. And then probably most notably, or most familiar in my mind, because we just finished Deep Space Nine, he played Dr. Mora, Odo's father figure. And so now he makes his Voyager debut. So overall, the episode's kind of interesting. It's one of those kind of conspiracy theory episodes where Jetrel is a character who basically his species conquered Neelix species. I think he says 15 years ago, and the war lasted the better part of a decade. And he's basically responsible for Neelix's family's death. And so Neelix just wants nothing to do with this guy. And he basically says, so you could have been exposed to this virus, and I need to come check you out for it to see if you have it. Of course, he says Neelix does. By the time we get to the end of the episode, there is one cool scene where he's in the medical area, and the doctor's like, do you guys need me for anything? And they're like, no, you're good. And the doctor actually turns himself off, which is the first time we've seen this. Anyways, Jetrel basically ends up Neelix doesn't have this disease, and he's been lying the whole time because he has guilt for being one of these conquerors, kind of like we saw in Deep Space Nine, where the Cardassians occupied Bajor. He has this guilt, and he thinks that he can use the Voyager transporter beam to basically resurrect the people, if I understood correctly. It started going kind of off the rails by the end. And it ends up failing. He gets sick, and right before he's about to die, Neelix is like, I forgive you, and everybody lives happily ever after. Overall, I don't know. I really liked the intro. I thought it had a really good potential episode, but then once we started getting further into it, I was getting lost and lost and lost. And by the time I got to the end, I was like, I just don't care anymore. It was great to see James Slolan again. That's awesome. And I feel like Neelix is kind of an underrated character because he's so goofy. A lot of people just write him off. And this is one of those first real episodes where you kind of see a lot of his anger come out. We saw a little glimmer of it a couple episodes where it was the nebula and they had to go back to it. But even in that one, where he barges into Janeway and Janeway's dismissed, that means get out. Again, he's kind of written as just fluff him off. Whereas in this episode, you realize Neelix does have layers. And I think that's a really interesting character development. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think? For those who are interested in actors, did you realize that was James Slolan? Or do you see all four actors? Do you realize all four are the same guy? And what did you think about the doctor turning himself off? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are all great. And I will see you guys next time for Learning Curve.